Hey, once again, everybody, thanks for hopping on board on the latest edition of Gun on One. It is powered by the Inside the Birds Network. I'm Derrick Gunn. The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions, and for a Super Bowl championship, I needed to bring a superhuman being to this edition of Gun on One. He is not just Weapon X. He is not just an Eagles Hall of Famer, but he is an NFL Hall of Famer and the strongest man of God that I know, the one and only.
Come on.
Brian Dawkins. What's up, B-Dog? Championships, baby.
Champions, Jack. Champions, Jack.
Look at you. Look at you, man.
You gotta love it. You gotta love
it. Look, man, you got to start with the defense. That's your forte. We have to start because when you play a game over in your mind over and over again and how a game could play itself out, when a game actually is played, there's always variables that nobody ever thought of. There ain't nobody on the planet who thought this young defense would manhandle the two-time defending champion like this. Did you? Because I never saw that coming.
No, not to this level. And I'll say it like this: not the end. And this is not. I'm not saying anything bad. This is not a negative way of saying what I'm about to say. So don't take it like that. Not the individuals that did it. I did not see it. I thought that would be Jalen Carter. I thought that he would be the individual to be wrecking shop. Yeah. But it wasn't Jalen. I'm saying he did his thing, and I'll tell you that he's one of the main reasons that the other cats was going one-on-one to eat, right? Because they had to pay attention so much to him. But no, I did not see the dominance of this defense going to this level, like playing across every level, not just the D line, but every level was eating out there.
You know, Doc, usually when dominant defenses display performances like this, you usually have marquee players. What makes this even more impressive is it is the youngest starting 11 in the National Football League. There is no marquee names. There are still young players who are growing into what they eventually will become.
Yes, and that's why, and I've said this, like the MVP of this football team, in my opinion, is Vic Fangio. And what he has done with that youth that you talked about, putting them all in positions, first of all, recognizing what he had. I mean, the first couple of weeks, he was not calling some of the things that he calls, the way games he's calling them now. And I believe a lot of that had to do with two reasons. Number one, you have to figure out who you have first before you begin to call some things, right? You have to be able to entrust these young individuals to communicate in the secondary to make sure you're getting the calls, linebackers, and all of those things, so you're not having blown coverages, right? So 2-2 going into that bye week, I believe that they had some tough conversations behind closed doors, and then Cooper was then brought into the nickel position. And then with those additions, the combination of those tough conversations, him knowing who he has, and then Cooper coming in, actually those three things, I believe that's why you saw that defense begin to just play better and better ball and continue to, build momentum until they absolutely played their exact not perfect game, their best game in the doggone Super Bowl.
Have you ever seen Patrick Mahomes that rattled? I mean, every time he stepped back, he never until late in the third quarter, he never got a chance to set his feet. He was throwing off balance. He threw behind receivers, underthrew receivers, all the throws that we've grown accustomed to watching Patrick Mahomes make. He couldn't even come close. And the most impressive aspect, B-Doc, he dropped back 42 times in the game. They never blitzed in the game. The front four manhandled that defensive front. I've never seen Patrick Mahomes that rattled in all the time I've been watching this young man play.
Yeah, if you look at the Super Bowl Tampa Bay, they got after him. It was a similar situation that they were getting after him. I don't know the score. I don't know score. I don't know if they didn't blitz or not. I don't know any of those things. I just know that they were causing him to speed up his clock. And that's what you want to do to any quarterback. You want to speed up the clock. You want to have, as Emmett used to say back in the day, you want to have them seeing ghosts, right? Seeing stuff that's not there because you're getting to them, speeding up that clock, making them get out of the pocket sooner than they need to. And then throwing bad passes or attempting things and forcing the team, the offense, to do things that they don't normally do. And that's what you saw this defensive line do. Listen, when we go into meetings, one of the things that we usually would say is the defensive coordinator, right? Jim, I'm talking about Jim now, is that, this week, the defensive line, front seven, you're going to have to you're responsible for this. You're responsible for the run, because really we probably need to play a little bit more coverage on the back end because of some of the things that they do. They took that. They took ownership of it. And then they went and absolutely got after this team. And I love to watch it. I love to watch person after person, Sweat do his thing, Jalen do his thing. And across the board, you have guys stepping up, playing above what we've seen them play in the past.
Now, I'm going to ask you a question, and I can't wait to hear this answer. This organization has had some great defenses in the history of this organization. You can go back to the Jerome Brown, Reggie White era, your era back in the early 2000s, the year you guys went to the Super Bowl. And I know this is just a one-year sample, but how would you compare this defense to other defenses historically in the Philadelphia Eagles organization?
You have to put it up there amongst the top, right? The top half of it, top three, if you will, right? And obviously, consistency of them going year in and year out playing a specific way. We're not talking about that. We're just talking about this 1 year of how they played defense.
Yeah.
There are times with Jim that we were up there as far as our rankings and what we did, right? Shutting down teams in specific, not giving up a whole bunch of points, top five, top, I think my 2009, 2008, my last year there, I think we were like number 2 against the run, and I think we're like number 3 against the pass. So we've had those rankings. I think the thing that set this defense apart is the level that they played in the big game, the biggest game. They literally, again, we just talked about it. They literally shut this team down. The Rams, what did they when they needed a stop, what did they do? They got the doggone stop, right? Against Washington, like that. The Washington didn't. It literally looked like that. It was 2 different teams as far as the preparation is concerned, but also the level of just the dominance of this defense of not allowing that team to have any success going forward. Now, they had a couple, I think, touchdowns late in the fourth quarter, but for the most part, they didn't have anything going. And then when they got into the Super Bowl, they absolutely played their best ball in the Super Bowl, right? And you can't say that. You can't say that to a lot of other defenses, ones that I've been on the runs with Reggie back in the day. You have to give Vic Fangio and this young group of guys, you have to give them a whole lot of props for how they handled themselves and how they then detailed their work physically on the field.
Was this defense equal to or better than your best defense when you played?
Definitely equal to.
Oh,
definitely.
Oh, really?
Definitely equal to. Absolutely. Definitely equal to. Because, it wasn't just a one-level thing. The defensive line was hunting. The linebackers throughout the playoffs have been playing outstanding. Obviously, we have an all-pro in the middle, at middle linebacker and Vaughn. So, and then the secondary, like you have a bunch of guys that see ball, get ball, right? See ball, get ball for the most part. The ball is in the air. It's anybody's ball. And if it's anybody's ball, why not? It's my ball, right? So that's what you have in the secondary. Guys who are will be able to make plays on the ball, pick it or punch it out, get the ball back, pick it and score, or get it back to the offense. And so, again, when you have that on every level, now you're not counting on one level to carry you week in and week out. And that's what you really want as a defense.
You talk about how turnovers, whoever wins the turnover battle usually wins a game. This team generated 13 turnovers in 4 games, significant in what they were able to accomplish.
Yeah. Again, so that's the see ball, get ball. But I'll tell you that see ball, get ball is something that a lot of people say. But if you aren't, first of all, some of the things that you see guys on the field do,
Mhm.
I will tell you that it's coached, right? Not all of it, right? But some of these things are coached. So when you see multiple guys constantly punching at the ball when they're the second guy in, to me, that's something that's talked about. They talk about those things in the meetings. I don't know who, but somebody's talking to them about when you're the second guy in, go after the ball, get the ball, punch the ball out. And you've seen that over and over, time and time again. So that means that they're practicing turnovers. They're practicing how to get the ball away. And I can only imagine if they're anything like me, like they're studying film to see
Mhm.
how each guy carries the football, right? Do you use the ball for balance? There's a lot of different things that I can get into, but like to me, those are some of the things that are being talked about. And again, so you're concentrating on those things. When you see ball, you want to get ball. Now you're being coached up to absolutely do that.
Mhm.
Now is will you take the practice onto the field? And these guys are doing that. They took the practice to the field. They saw ball, they went after the ball, and they absolutely balled out.
Did Jim Johnson constantly preach to you guys about that in terms of going after the ball?
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, again, it's about turnovers, getting the
Right,
ball
right,
back.
right.
We want to get the ball. We want to dictate to the offense by his play calling, by our disguises. We want to make sure we have a max effort to the ball. Everybody's taking the proper angles to the football. Should not be one guy making the tackle,
Mhm.
right? And then when you get to a chance to get the ball out, get the rock, pick it. And he would always tell you to stay on the sideline. Don't be running all over the field. But if you see the ball, once again, punch it out, get it out. And these are some of the things we did practice oftentimes.
Break down Jalen Carter's game. I mean, this dude is a nonstop motor. I mean, his rookie year, he hit that proverbial rookie wall. Early in the season, people talked to him about being defensive rookie of the year, and all of a sudden he hit that wall. This year, from start to finish, this young man was like reborn for the duration of a season.
Yeah, and here's the thing about it. You expect that the rookie year. You expect that when he's playing as many snaps as he did, you're going to expect for him to have a rookie wall. Why? Because your body is not used to doing that.
Mhm.
College games are over at a certain period, and you're going past that, so your body is not used to that. But here's what you do. A professional does this. A professional understands, okay, so that's what it is. That's what it feels like. So now you begin to prepare yourself during the off season in order to make sure that you can then last and play the snaps that you want to play full speed the next season. And he has that mindset, and he has the skill set, and he has he has the wind to play. I think he played against Washington. They said he missed like 4 snaps.
Mhm.
Listen, that's not the norm now, y'all.
Mhm.
That's usually defensive linemen are kind of rotating in and out
Yeah,
pretty,
yeah.
you know, and sometimes to their chagrin, like some of them don't want to do it, but the defensive coordinators will tell you, "No, we want you guys to be fresh." And he's like, maybe they've said that to him, and
Mhm.
maybe he said, "No, I ain't coming out." Right? So he has that type of mindset. He has to be the stamina, and he has the ability. And DeJean, there's things that when you truly watch film on this young man,
Yeah.
and you begin to see what he's doing in his second year in the National Football League, it's ridiculous. Like there's a play against who was that? Well, I think it might have been against Washington that they ran the ball to his right. They pulled and tried to cut him with the guard, and he recognized it, saw it, jumped up in the air, hung in the air a little for a second, went over him, and then was able to still, go chase the ball and almost get in on the tackle. Listen, that's a 10-pound dude
Yes, sir.
doing something like that. That being that athletic to be able to do that. So again, his mind, his understanding of the game is ahead of it. But he also he has the athleticism to at 10 pounds to make himself skinny. Like I don't know how that works, but to make it be that big, be that athletic, and be able to make yourself skinny with some of the move that he used, his go-to move, right? To be able to do that over and over and over again. And then ultimately, dude, he has a whole bunch of power. So he had raw power from the beginning. And now he's stepping into a space being trained up by professionals that power to me will get stronger and stronger and stronger because again, they're pouring into it specifically.
People already want to compare him to Jerome Brown. Is it way too early to compare him to the likes of Jerome Brown?
I mean, you can compare them, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And so here's the thing. When you see flashes of things that you've seen other people do, it's okay to say that that reminds me of this dude, right? Now, if you want to say that's comparing him to him, for me, that's just saying that he reminds me of somebody, right? He reminds me. Now, is he gonna be better than that guy? We don't know that yet. That'll be a test of time thing, because 2 years of playing high level football does not mean that greatness is there, right? So it's about consistency is what I'm trying to say. So doing that consistently year in and year out and getting better every year will then take him to a plateau that he can listen with his skill set, with his mindset, and with that with that level of energy that I'll just use the word energy, that attitude and energy that he has. And if you kind of notice, he's always after the play, like he's somebody, him and somebody's always doing something, right? He has a little bit extra in him, and he's learned to control it, harness it, and use it for the good of him and the football team. And I absolutely love that. Love that.
You talk about finding a diamond in the rough. I mean, what did the Eagles and Vic Fangio see in Zack Baun? There's so many other teams omitted. I mean, a special teamer down in New Orleans, and in 1 year, he's an all-pro here and putting himself in a position to get paid this offseason. I mean,
absolutely.
That young man, you talk about a turnaround in a career. Wow. Is the only thing I can think of. I had Trout on my podcast a few weeks ago, and I asked him about Baun. He said, DeJean, he said, there's two things you say when you see something like that. First of all, you just go like this. And number two, all you can say is, wow, that young man came from out of nowhere.
Yeah. And here's the ultimate thing for me. I would think about when I think about Vaughn and this is year 5 for him, 5 or 6, 5. So I think about myself at year 5. I think about how much the game had slowed down for me, how much I understood about how to do the things that I was called to do and asked to do, right? So first of all, your mindset, your mental makeup, how much the game has slowed down, right? And so I'm pretty sure that over the years, he's been asked to do a bunch of different things, right? So he's tried his best to learn these things, to study these things, to allow him to then potentially go onto the field to perform these things. So he has a level of understanding about the game of football, the speed of the game, and then how to play the game, right? So then you put that dude who's been a jack of all trades at the middle linebacker position, right? And then you give him the vote of confidence to say, we trust you and we believe in you, bro. We think you got something special. Do you know how significant that is to somebody to get that vote of confidence from someone like Vic Fangio to say, you know what, we want you to call the defense. We believe in you that much, right? So to me, that took his belief in himself to another level. Because oftentimes I'll tell you that in the beginning of my career, what I had to do is I had to believe in Emmett's vision of me. I've told you this before. I had to believe in his vision of me before I can do anything, because I didn't know what I can do. I didn't know what I was and what I was not. So what I would do is Emmett would not let me settle. So he would be, chewing me out about things that I should be doing. So I had to believe in Emmett's vision of me for that first year. But when I saw some of the things that he saw, I was like, oh my goodness. So I no longer needed his vision, right? So to me, that's similar in this situation. When he got that vote of confidence, he believed in the player that Vic kind of probably showed him that he possibly could be. And then he went out and actually did with some of the things that probably Vic was thinking that he could do. And now he was like, I can do this. And it's like, it's easy. It's not as hard as I thought it was going to be. So now you see him like he's literally floating around the field. Think of picking in the Super Bowl, and you just got your eyes on the quarterback and you're reading them and you're diving, making plays. You're second guy in against Washington. I'm not gonna just go in and get hit on the dude. I see the ball. I'm gonna get the ball, right? So that again, that's the confidence of him being that level of player to be able to do all of these things. And I'm so happy that the Saints cut. Thank you, Saints. Thank you, Giants, and also thank you, Saints, for not recognizing what y'all had.
Man, the young secondary. I mean, you talk about hitting a slam dunk. Howie Roseman, CooperDeJean, as long as Quinyon Mitchell. I mean, you talk about the ultimate respect in the game. When offenses don't even throw your way, and you're a rookie, that's the ultimate respect. And then you throw in this kid CooperDeJean playing their slot nickel. I mean, we've chastised Howie for years for missing on a lot of players. But if you look overall at his last 4 drafts, there was at least 12 players from the last 4 drafts that were significant contributors to this Super Bowl season. But those 2 young men definitely stand out. I mean, I dare to say better than Lito and Sheldon when they came into the league.
Some high praise, Jack.
Yeah,
that's some high praise. I mean, again, what Quinyon is doing, what he has done, what he's done thus far is not normal. Number one, like that's not the norm. Like to not give up a touchdown until like the later part of the, I think week, what was against Washington. So that was
Washington,
yeah. So late in the season, and then not having teams throw you away week in and week out. Again, that's not the norm. And it's not like you don't have a quality corner on the other side, because you have a quality corner on the other side, right? So it's not the norm, right? And so here's what I'll say though. Like me being blessed to have worked there as an executive, like there's individuals that are doing, scouting, looking at the talent, and like, yes, Howie absolutely makes the decision on who's going to come there. But I'll tell you, they have a strong scouting department, Philadelphia Eagles, that brings these type of players to the forefront for Howie to check out to make those calls.
All right, I got to go to the other side of the ball because the biggest story.
I can't. Yeah, my bad. Forgot about Cooper. I got to talk about Cooper. Okay. So to have a young man to come into the slot, for anybody who does not know, one of the hardest positions to play on the football field is the slot position.
Okay.
Slot, because the receiver usually has two-way goes on you, right? They have the option. So your technique, your film study, all of those things have to be on point of which leverage side you want to play. And then you have to be able to still stay sticky in routes, not get separation. And if you watch him play, they don't usually get a whole lot of separation from it. He stays sticky in coverage. And then even when those times, and it was a couple of times that a couple of veteran receivers kind of got the best of him, I watched him, and to be honest with you, I love to see that. I was waiting for that, because how you rebound from an outing like that tells me a whole lot about you. Yeah. And when that next week came, he was back to being the sticky dude in coverage. I was like, boom, they got themselves something, right? And so that has played out, and to the point that he was confident enough in himself that on a sprint right by a quarterback, Hall of Fame quarterback, right? He was free in coverage. His responsibility, to be honest with you, was supposed to be that comeback route from the outside receiver. But he was comfortable enough in his playmaking ability and reading the field that he just read the quarterback's eyes. And instead of going left like he probably should have, he went right and picked that thing and took it to the house. And to me, that was kind of the first kind of nail in the coffin, if you will, for the Chiefs coming back against that team.
All right, go to the other side, and the man who won the MVP. I consider him like the Rodney Dangerfield of quarterbacks in the NFL, because this young man. I mean, but that's the bottom line. This young man can get no respect from the national pundits. Even a lot of local people doubted him, fans included, media included. And at one point, I must raise my hand and say I had my questions about him as well. He never wavered. He never buckled. No matter how many questions he was asked about his play at the podium. If you played poker against him, you wouldn't know if he had a good hand or a bad hand, because his demeanor is always the same. But all he does, Doc, is win. It's not about the gargantuan stats. It's about the efficiency. And since the bye week, all he's been is efficient, and all he's done is win, Doc.
Yeah. Here's the thing that I will tell you, though, DeJean. I will tell you that when did critiquing someone become a bad thing?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not talking about the people that go over the top.
Right,
Like,
right.
when you go over the top, you need to, draft somebody at his position, put in the backup. That's foolishness, right? I'm not talking about those individuals, but I'm talking about when is critiquing someone a bad thing?
Yeah.
If I didn't critique myself, I wouldn't have continued to improve in my career. If I didn't have coaches around me that would critique me, I wouldn't have continued to get better in my career. And so here's one of a good thing, but a bad thing, in my opinion, that Jalen did. Jalen outplayed the MVP, Super Bowl winner for that year in the Super Bowl. So he showed something. He showed me a level of play that I'm like, oh yeah, you got this in you. So when then you come back down to playing at this level, I'm like, no, but what about this dude up here?
Yeah.
What about this dude? So so when I look at him, that's what I was looking for. Like, I'm okay, you won, but this is the dude that you have in you, right? So where's that dude?
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. So to me, it's not about, I'm not criticizing him and then telling him he's a loser, none of those things, right? But there's a level of play that I expect from him. Why? Because he's shown it. Like, you can't flash me that and then go back to playing that and then me be okay with that, right?
Yeah.
So that's where I'm coming from when it comes to him, right? And again, I'm not talking about someone putting another quarterback instead of him. No, I'm not talking about none of that foolishness. I'm just talking about doing exactly what they did. Somebody and somehow, some way, I believe that they got behind closed doors and had some tough conversations about how they were going to move going forward. And as you watched week after week after week, they began to play better, better, and better, and better, until it got to the point he finally got healthy. One of the best things that happened to him was, I hate to say it, but him getting hurt. Why? So he can get healthy for the postseason run.
Yeah.
Because you saw what a healthy Hurts could do in the postseason. The way he was able to move, the way he was able to power through, running through arm tackles and all of those things, right? He was not doing some of those things early on. So again, I'm not saying, I don't know what was going on with his body, but I'm just telling you, he was healthy going into the postseason run. And then when he got into that doggone Super Bowl, the Hurts that we saw 2 years ago in Arizona showed back up again. And so for me, I'm also to the point that I don't expect that Hurts anymore. When you have that and you showed that a couple of times, that means you have a greater level in you. So I'm expecting better. I'm expecting even greater going forward. That's how I look at him. I'm respectful, love him, love his competitiveness, all of those things. But to me, he's learning as he goes. He's doing some of the right things that he needs to do to better his game, so that he can be the best teammate that he can, leader and teammate that he can for this team.
He doesn't put up numbers like a Josh Allen, a Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson, but he doesn't turn the ball over either. He's averaged like 21, 22 passes a game over the last half of the season. He completes 16 or 17 of them every week. Efficiency. Yeah. Would you consider him an elite quarterback? Because some people, even today, I'm on website X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, and I'm seeing guys, so-called experts, putting up their top 10, top 15 quarterbacks in the National Football League. Some of them still had him at number 7, number 8, still giving him no respect. Would you consider him an elite quarterback? Or for that matter, I want your inside defensive perspective of what an elite quarterback is supposed to look like.
So it really depends on what your criterion is for that quarterback. And so that would be for that person to say, like, this is my criterion for the quarterback. Yeah. You need to throw for 300 yards. Well, if that's the case, he won't be elite for you, because he does not, first of all, have to do that. That's not what he's asked to do. If he does it, awesome. But when you have a potential future Hall of Famer to your right side of you, but the best offensive line in the game, right? And you're going to run the ball to a high clip, You're not asked to do those things, right? You're just asked to be efficient when getting the ball to your all-pro receivers, right? And allow them to then do what they do with the ball on the outside, right? And so again, it depends on your criterion when it comes to the quarterback position. From where Jalen is and what he has around him. Again, I've told you in the postseason, you've seen this dude play at a level that outperformed, to be honest with you, a future Hall of Famer, which is Holmes. If you look at the numbers, I forgot, I saw it online somewhere. If you put the two numbers, what they've done in those games, it's blown away as far as how much, how well Jalen played in those games. Right?
Yes.
And so if your criterion for your quarterback is that he needs to 300 yards, he needs to, throw for 5 touchdowns, then Jalen probably won't be that for you. But if your criterion is that he's efficient, he knows how to run the offense, he's going to score the football, whether that be running the football, getting touchdowns by himself, or he's going to get the ball to who needs to, get it as far as the passing game is concerned. He's going to make good decisions. Then to me, he is in that spotlight. He is in that place. And he's right. Put it this way. He is right where the Philadelphia Eagles need him to be. Right. So he doesn't have to be everybody else's elite quarterback. Please don't call him elite.
Yeah.
We don't care.
Yeah.
He's a Super Bowl MVP right now.
That's
Deal
right.
with it.
That's
Deal
right.
with it.
Doc, as we sit here right now, this team will never play together again in its entirety as we know it right now. Free agency, some of these players are going to get paid, But when you look at the overall nucleus of this team offensively, AJ and Devontae signed extensions. Lane Johnson has another year or two on his contract. Jordan Mailata got an extension. On the defensive side, the core of your defense still has 2 to 3 years left on their contracts, rookie contracts. This team is in a poised position right now. Dare we say, repeat? Repeat, because I would have to say, going into next season, they're the number one team, not in just the NFC, but the NFL right now. When you look at this new offensive line's intact, wide receivers back. Oh, by the way, that dude Saquon, dog,
he's pretty good, man.
Have you seen a back like Saquon? When was the last time you saw a back like Saquon?
Listen, I forgot who I was talking to the other day, and we were trying to talk about who does he remind? Because oftentimes you do that, right? You say that he reminds me of this person, right? And so Saquon has power, but he's not a straight line guy.
Right.
He can jump cut, right? He loves to jump cut, right? He can spin on you if you need him to spin. He can go into the spinning cycle. If you need him to jump, he can jump. So,
jump
backwards, right? Right. One of the cats that came to mind because he was shifty, especially when he was in his first couple of years. And I remember him making someone on our defense fall. He was going front side and he cut back side, and he was about 3 yards away from him. And with a move he made the dude fall before he cut back up. And he was a rookie at that time. And I was like, this dude gonna be special. And that was LaDainian Thomas, right? So his shiftiness reminded me of someone like that. But again, he has the explosiveness to be able to see a hole, get it, and jet on it, right? I mean, you can go all the way back to old school Bo Jackson, right? When he get a hole and he's gone, ain't nobody catching him. He gone, and it's separation. It's not just he's going out, he's gonna score. It's gonna be separation from him and the other dude, and you saw that, right? So he's a combination, and then ultimately he's also a good dude. He's a good leader of the football team. So again, I said it before.
Yeah,
and I'm really not trying. I'm really just. Surprised, still elated, joyfully. Thank you, Giants. Again, thank you. Thank you.
Hey, look, we've watched Saquon run through people, run over people, leap over people, make people miss. How would a Brian Dawkins in his prime square up on a Saquon Barkley?
Yeah, it different tackles for different times, right?
Okay. Right.
If he's in the what do you call it? If he's in a hallway, right, it's going to be more angles. I'm going to have to do angle. Make sure that cut off one angle, make him go another angle, cut him off at the pass, and then get him down, right? If he's in the hole, then he's just like everybody else. Like he's in any other back. If you're in a hole, you don't have nowhere to go. Yeah, you're gonna have to.
Look at you laughing. Look at you laughing.
Yeah. But open field is where that dude becomes real scary. Like open field, you get him in the open field. That's when he becomes really scary. You have to have a plan. You have to be confident. You have to have speed, and you have to have a plan of how you're going to go against him. And I can go into a whole bunch of other details. Does he stiff arm? He doesn't really stiff arm a whole lot. He does. It's more of a slap stiff arm, so I wouldn't be so much worried about that. I would break that down quick to be able to get up under him and get him down. So there's a whole lot to this conversation that that I can talk about as far as how I would study him and how I would come up with different tackles for different situations when I faced him.
When you have the success that this team has had, everybody wants a piece of your pieces. Kellen Moore, it was announced on Tuesday officially now as the head coach of the New Orleans Saints. Why are you laughing?
I'm crying, man.
Oh, I thought you were laughing.
Oh, man.
I thought you were laughing because he's going to the Saints. They have the worst cap situation in the NFL. They're $54 million over the cap. They don't have any talent. They had an old running back who catches the ball better than he runs the ball, and a quarterback who they're not all that happy with Derrick Carr. You know what? Seth Joyner said on our pre and post game show Sunday, what Kellen Moore should have done is stayed here one more year, and he would have been like Ben Johnson of Detroit. Next year, he'd have had his pick of teams in terms of where he wanted to go. But, he's been passed over a number of times. He's interviewed a number of times, been passed over, and I think he just jumped at the opportunity. I was going to ask you how big of a loss is Kellen Moore, but by your expression, I already know how big of a loss Kellen Moore is. But I want your answer anyway. Huge loss, correct?
Huge loss because, in my opinion, you had a Kellen Moore that had success in other places, and when he came here, he adjusted his game plan as far as how he did things, and they begin to lead with the offense, lead with the running game. Excuse me, and I'm not saying that they won't find somebody else, and I was doing that. I was crying because I'm like, man, would y'all leave the Eagles alone, man? Let the coaches. This is 2 years in a row, man. Won't y'all just leave the Eagles alone, dog? Won't y'all go get y'all own coaches, man?
Oh
no, man. But again, yes, if he's been passed over, and I get it, I understand it. You want to go into a space and in a place to have a whole head coaching opportunity, but at the same time, I don't know him as a person to know that maybe he looks at that challenge as something that's what I really want. I want to go into a place that nobody expects anything from us, and then we go out and we put some coaches in place, get the players we need to get, the players that we have, we help them play at their best level until we can get to a point to bring in some of the other people that we need. But even in the meantime, we're still begin to win games, to surprise people, to put the Saints back into the national spotlight as far as that is concerned. Maybe that's his mindset.
Well, I wish him all the best, but he could have picked the worst situation to go to right now.
Listen, I'm trying to give him some love. I'm trying to figure out same thing. I'm trying to figure out what he was thinking. Like same thing. So that's kind of the only thing that I was coming up with. Like maybe he's that competitor, man. I want the worst. Give me the worst, and we're gonna go the first from the worst. Maybe he's that cat.
Yeah, but what you're really saying is, man, what is wrong with you going to the Saints? I've known you too long, big dog. I know you too long, man. In the immortal words of television, that's a wrap. For our man, Hall of Famer, and an unbelievable human being, Brian Dawkins, I'm Derrick Gunn. This has been the Super Bowl edition.
Wait a minute.
What?
Philly. Enjoy it.
Woo!
Enjoy it. Enjoy the fruits of these young men's labor, of what they put in, the route that they took from last year to this year, to the growth that you saw throughout this year to the point to which they played their best football at the end of the year in the Super Bowl in order to win that thing. Not just win it, but win it convincingly against someone that was trying to get a three-peat, right? So that y'all can have another parade coming down, bro. So enjoy it.
Preach it.
Enjoy it. Enjoy, Philly. Enjoy. Enjoy.
All right, that's going to wrap up this edition of Gut on One, powered by the Inside the Birds Network. B-Dog, you know I love you like I love smoked ribs. For Brian Dawkins, I'm Derrick Gunn. Until next time, so long, everybody. You're a mess, man.